Hello everyone, thanks for joining me today on Stay Home Timber. In this video, we are looking at the master bedroom, our bedroom of our new home. And when we first got in here, we just painted these walls gray. They used to be like a light blue. And then we kind of just used what furniture we had, lamps that we have, and even curtains that we already had. Nothing purchased was new here. So I'm showing you right now that my son's taped the doors already, and I meant to film this before they taped, but I'm just going to give you a look around what we have going on in this bedroom so far. We have two mismatched dressers, but the wood tones are similar, so I like them fine. But you can see that there's just some empty wall space. I think the room is like painfully boring, and I think it just makes it look dreary when I'm in here. So I'm wanting to put some things up on the wall, and I'm wanting to change some things out, and maybe update these nightstands, which are just 2x2 cube squares from Walmart, the Better Homes and Garden cubes that I often use. Here's this like floor lamp that I just stuck behind this nightstand to give me extra light because this light in the room is not bright enough. And so I turn that on in the evenings too, so I don't feel like I'm sitting in a cave. Now here's a chair where I sit and sometimes read or watch the news. This TV is not actually used. And then you can see back there is my closet, which I took the door off of that so I could get into it easily, and it's kind of a mess in there. But that's what we have going on in this room. Just really boring, definitely unorganized room with furniture that we have already had. So just know in this makeover there is going to be no new exciting furniture, if only, but that is not in the budget. So we're going to be working with what we already have here and trying to update the room with what's already going on here. And yeah, you can just see it's not a very functional space, and it is absolutely not a pretty space. Now these curtains are also very high up, and so they don't touch the ground, which kind of makes them look like high waters. And the nightstands are just kind of have some stuff shoved in there. Now these are my husband's winter clothes. He has quite a big wardrobe, and I haven't finished unpacking his closet. So those are under the bed in tubs right now that I would love to have those covered up as well. So there are a lot of little things that I'm going to update in this room. But again, nothing super exciting with new furniture. But I think the changes make such a difference. So I hope you guys stay tuned and wait and see what is going to happen to this room. But the first thing I'm thinking is I want to stay in a really tight budget. My husband gave me a very tight budget. And in fact, he did not have the budget for me to change this room for new paint. So I'm ending up having to use paint that I already have, and so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that. So this red can is the paint that I used in the office when I did the industrial office in the home, and this is the kind of black green paint for the living room. Now both of these are in the black section of Lowe's, and the one is like midnight black, so it almost has like a blue tint, and then obviously you can see the one from the living room is black with a shade of green. So they're really pretty colors. I'm hoping it goes a little more green, but what I'm going to do, guys, is mix these two cans together. I have about a half of a can each, and this is my entire budget for this room for paint. So I'm going to have to use these two cans, and I'm planning to mix them together. Now I'm pouring a little extra of the pure paint into these jars from Dollar Tree, and that's so I could do touch up in the rooms, a quick touch up in the living room if anything goes wrong, or a quick touch up in the office if anything goes wrong. And the rest of these is about a half gallon each. I am mixing in this big 5-gallon bucket, and then I'm just going to get that stirred up. Now I'm thinking it's probably because of that dark blue. It's probably going to pull mostly blue in this color, but really it just looks black in the bucket. So I'm just going to cover the furniture. I don't want to have to deal with wiping off the furniture if it gets paint on it. And I'm going to get right to it, you guys. I just scooted the dresser forward so that I could get back here and start painting. And you can see on the wall, it looks black. It looks black. Now, when there's light, hopefully in some of the other shots, you'll be able to see that there is a blue tint, not a green tint like I was kind of hoping for, but I ended up really liking it. It's a very pretty color when it's all said and done. And I think it's a huge step up from this gray that was just so boring. And I know some of you guys might be freaking out because this is a really dark color. What I realized in the living room is just because it's dark does not mean that it's going to make the room look like a cave. Because of the sheen on it, it's going to reflect light, and actually is just, I think, more character in this room instead of this really boring gray that just reminds me like a stone room. So this reminds me of a cave right now before I get it painted. I'm starting low, and then I'm going to grab the ladder and finish up high. Now, one thing interesting that I did not know until I started using black paint in the office, in the living room, and now in the bedroom is that you do have to touch it up. You would think that it would go over really well in this lighter color, but for whatever reason, you can see every little spot that you miss. So you have to go back through and make sure that you get it all covered. Now this is the gray over there on the left. It actually looks white next to this black, and then there's the black covering the wall, and maybe you can kind of see some of the bluish tint, and then even some green in this light. So it's really a pretty color, and I really love how it reflects the light because of the sheen, and I think it totally upgrades the space from that really boring gray. But paint is just a very small feature that I'm starting in this room. Now you can see that this window wall, it's not painted, and the reason that it's not painted is because half and a half of a gallon, or maybe it was like a little more than half a gallon each, does not paint a whole room. Now right now what I want to show you is not that I got paint on the floorboards, I will cover that up or paint over that, is the rug. The rug here is way too far back. It was right under the nightstands, but what I wanted to do, this is where that 4-drawer dresser was. I want to pull it down closer to where that dresser was. I moved it for painting, and it is going to go back. And so I wanted the nightstands to not have a rug under them. And that gives like just this complete look down at the bottom here and not like a separated look. So this is the paint that's left from the room, and it's not enough to paint that wall. So I was talking to my husband, and he thought it might look good to put up some wallpaper here, and he really loves the brick in his office, but that brick was a little too dark for what I was going for in this room. And actually, I don't know if I would have enough left anyway of that wallpaper, but this is the wallpaper that I had picked for the kitchen. So as in to stay in the budget, I'm just grabbing the wallpaper that I had selected and kept for the kitchen, which I've been meaning to do, but will probably be done within the next couple months. And this is a really pretty brick wallpaper. It's lighter, so I think it's going to add some interest in the room, and it made my husband very happy, especially since we had no more paint. This was going to have to be either left gray, which I don't think would look good, or have some other kind of wallpaper or wall treatment on this wall. So the wallpaper is going to do the trick. So I'm just prepping the wall, getting everything taken off so that I can start with the wallpaper. So the original goal of this room was to kind of make it moody like the living room, but what it's going to end up being is kind of a mix between my husband's style with the industrial and the moodiness that I like. Now this is a 3-pack of a putty knife set from Dollar Tree. I really love this wide paddle for the putty knife, and I think it's going to really help me apply this wallpaper. And this is a level that I'm going to line up on the line of the brick to make sure it's straight. And super glue, you guys, I use this gel super glue from Dollar Tree. I've used it for wallpaper for a couple of years now, and this peel and stick wallpaper especially, it's like a giant sticker, so obviously you know that it could curl because it's a sticker. So I use super glue just along the top line, and you guys, it stays and keeps it up for years. It's a really good hack. And when I pulled it down at our last place, it did peel some paint off, but I had leftover paint to just touch it up. So just know it's going to peel some paint off. It did not damage the wall, and I was careful about how I pulled it off, so that's another thing. So I super glued, and now I'm putting this brick wallpaper strip on, and you guys, this is a really fun wallpaper color. You're gonna see it again probably in the kitchen, but there's still some surprises in the kitchen. But I love that it has kind of like this warm copper color, and these darker gray bricks have some blue look to them, which I think really ties in well with the room. And I'm showing you what I'm doing is I'm pushing it down all the way to the trim on the bottom, and I'm going one entire brick level lower to make sure I have enough down there. It would be a bummer if I ran out and had to patch the bottom. And then I'm just using that putty knife from Dollar Tree to get it applied to the wall. And I use you guys, this is just my multi-tool knife that I'm cutting with, but I really would have liked to find my X-Acto knife. I don't know where that is. That would have been a lot easier. That's what I used in the office, and it made the wallpaper job much faster. But this little knife did work. So I'm showing you right now how I have to line up the brick. If you're going to get a brick wallpaper, every brick wallpaper that I've worked with is different in order to line it up. So you really have to look at it for a minute, and then you just cut where you see that it's going to line up. And it does give some waste of the wallpaper, but maybe you can use those in smaller projects later. So I'm just making sure I have the right line. I trimmed it so that it has at least one full line of brick above, or at least half. I think it's a half that I left up there. And then I'm lining that up so that it can look perfect. And this can look like just a complete, even, and continuous brick wall. Now, around the door was a little bit of a pain, so I cut it to the right horizontally first, And now I'm going down to the bottom and cutting it vertically, just in a little. And I'm leaving quite a bit to tuck around the door, and then I can cut that off later. So now I'm trimming all that off. Now, this obviously takes a lot longer than it looks in the video. I think it took a couple of hours, but that's because I was trying to go carefully. I super glue the top every time, and I'm trimming it off. I could have waited and trimmed everything off at the end. I think that would have made it go faster, but I wanted to see how it was going to look along the way. So here I am just matching it again, making sure it's the right patch. And these squares on top were a lot easier to work with because I just did like 6 bricks down with like half a brick up, half a brick line up, half a brick line below. And you can just see it's really lining up well. I am using that level to make sure that the bricks are even. And I'm just going to keep going. So this was the easy part. This was like a bit of a break before I get to the next side of the door. So do not forget that glue. I'm using that multi-tool to cut off and trim, but an X-Acto knife would be a lot faster if you guys have that and you're wanting to do peel and stick wallpaper. All right, so almost to the end of the door. Now I'm gonna have to do a full strip panel again. So I wanted to let you guys know this is not a lot of wall over here, as you can see, but I did have to use 2 entire rolls of this wallpaper, and the reason I had to do that is because of how you line it up. There's some layers that you have to chop off. Okay, so what I'm trying to see here is how much I'm going to need on the right. I know that I'm going to need a full panel right here by the door, but over to the right where it combines to the black wall or goes over to the black wall, I wanted to know how much I would need over there. And yeah, so it's going to be a whole nother panel. So I'm just trying to figure it out. You guys, you're going to have to think through it. It's almost like using your brain. I know you can do it if I can do it. Okay, so that's lined up. Again, I'm going to cut horizontally after I get that puttied down and tight. And now I'm going to trim up vertically. I'm leaving plenty of inches. I think that's about 3 or 4 inches that I did not cut, so that I made sure I had enough to tuck in there. You just want to make sure you have a lot of wallpaper left over, you guys. I have done it where it's been too short and I've had to patch. That was like my office mistake because of all the windows in there. And it was kind of a nightmare. It took forever and it looks fine now, but yeah. If you look really closely, you could see it. But this wall turned out so beautifully. I mean, you would really have to look for the seams in this wall. So I'm really happy with this one. Only 1 door to go around. And the walls that I've done in the past have been like straight walls. Okay, so now we're going to talk about these curtains. These are dark blue curtains, way too dark for what I'm wanting in this room. Although the room is black, I mean, I get that, but I'm wanting some lighter curtains. So I went through a couple curtains here, and this is the first set that I did. They're kind of like a pearl white, and it looks great in this, but I didn't love those. Now we're moving on to the nightstand. So all I'm doing is gluing feet on first. These are the feet that I used in the office and in the living room. I will have them linked below, and I'm just screwing them onto the bottom with some E6000 type of Gorilla Glue. And that's gonna really hold them in place. And the nightstands, these are definitely lighter than the other shelves that I worked with. So here's my nightstand done as well. I did both of them. And I used a screwdriver, which if you have a drill that works, our drill's not working right now. It was definitely easier to use that. But here they are, and that already elevates the look of the nightstand. So now I'm using my little multi-tool, some scissors, and the putty knife, and I'm going to cover these nightstands with this Dollar Tree contact paper. This Dollar Tree contact paper is a really pretty color. This is not the dark one that I used in the living room. It's actually the light one that I used in the office, and I'm using a putty knife this time, and it's making it so much easier. You guys, these putty knives from Dollar Tree or any flat, they have them on Amazon as well. Not the exact same thing, but similar wallpaper putty scrapers, I think they're called. And I'll link some of those below too, in case you can't find these at Dollar Tree. But they are worth the money because they make the project so much easier. It just smooths it on. It helps get those wrinkles out. And I was like surprised. It went so fast compared to what I've been doing this entire time. I was really happy to have this. So I'm just trimming and cutting around where it needs to go. And I used the full width of the paper, and I just cut the lengths as needed. And I just love this color. I think it's so warm in this room. All right, and I'm folding the excess down so that it can cover these really big sides on these cube shelves. They have like the really double layered outside and then the thinner cross shelves. So I made sure to have enough, and it just pops right down. Now I want to show you right now, I'm only cutting, so these are like 13-inch pieces, and I'm only decorating the edges here. I don't need the entire cube decorated because I am going to use some of the bins that I have. The bins that I'm going to use are the ones from Walmart. I will link those below, but they are really nice file bins, but they look really good in this wood nightstand. Okay, so this is a mirror that we got on a really good sale on Amazon. I was so excited to find it. And it's the only thing is this color was rose gold. I love rose gold, but it's, you know, it's kind of girly and I don't really know how it's going to go in the room, but it was the cheapest mirror because of the color. So I'm guessing it's not the most popular color. So I think it was 20 bucks less than the other mirror that the same size, but just a different rim. I thought if I really wanted to, I could spray paint the frame, but I really like the rose gold. So now I'm using these monkey hooks again. This mirror is really good quality and it's incredibly heavy. So I'm using 2 of the 50-pound holding monkey hooks. I put them in there and I hooked the mirror on. Now this mirror came with a type of hanger, a bar hanger, which I tried to use, but my drill is broken. That thing would not work and I couldn't get it into the wall. So I just used the monkey hooks and it worked. So now we're doing some thrift store find frames, and all I'm doing is getting them all undone, unpeeling them, taking off all the sides. Now this one that was this really thick frame is really pretty. It was really well done. So I had to get in there with this flathead screwdriver, get all those staples out in order to even get the picture out before I could even start to replace the picture. So now this is like a grapes and wine bottle, but it has this pretty inside frame flap. I don't know what that's called. Frame. Inside frame, inside the pretty frame. So I wanted to use that. So I'm scraping that off with the other Dollar Tree putty knife. And I'm actually going to put my artwork that I'm choosing right on top of that wine picture. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like. I'm using the Monets that I used in the living room. It's the only art that I have that I own. And they're like these poster board Monets, but I really do like them. They're very pretty. Now, I am going to spray paint this frame. I do regret this, so I just want to let you know. I really like it right now with the mahogany spray paint, but if you have a gold frame like this, maybe think of leaving it because it was really pretty. I should have left it, but I wanted it like more moody and dramatic in my head for a minute, but now I regret it. So your guys' choice, but I'm going to go over it with rose gold and just kind of catch some of these accents with the rose gold so they stand out a little more. Now the frame originally was gold and had like a darker accents around it, like you can see in this little part of the frame here. But this is, again, I'm going to spray paint because, you know, right now I'm thinking this is a good idea. I have my little notebook, and whatever's in my notebook, I at least have to try. So this is what I'm doing. I'm spray painting it again, and it's going to go on the inside. And then I'm using this wine grape photo picture as a guide. I can see where the frame has laid. I can see the lines. So that's where I'm going to line up my Monet in order to show the parts of the Monet that I want, because this Monet is actually bigger than the actual inside frame. So it's not going to be able to show the whole picture, which is kind of a bummer, but I've seen other people do this with their artwork. I mean, obviously not the real things, but I'm using double-sided sticky tape just to get that on there so it doesn't move around. And I lined it up where I saw those ridges. And I'm just going to trim off the top here because it's going to hang off a little too much. This is a really pretty Monet with a garden path. I like it a lot. Okay, so here's the frame that I spray painted on the inside frame, and I also went over that with the rose gold. I'm putting the glass back in. I did clean that glass. And now I'm just using duct tape. This is my white duct tape that I have on hand. You can use any duct tape that you have. And I'm duct taping it back in instead of using all those staples. And this way I can change it out again if I want to. But it did turn out pretty. Alright, so this is the second frame that I have. This frame is much less dramatic. And I used one of these in the living room with the poppy florals. I'm cleaning it all up. And this one's really easy to work with because it's just those prongs that you open. Now this is the other Monet that I wanted to look at and put in here. Really pretty with that sky. I really love this scene, but it's gonna have to cut off some of those boats, but that's okay because the part that I really love is this path with the mom and her son and the trees and the sky. That is so beautiful, and I love looking at this picture in the room. It's so beautiful. So I'm using some double-sided sticky tape to line that frame up and get that poster in there. Then I'm using some of it in the corners to keep that into place, and I just push the prongs back in, and that was super easy artwork. Okay, so for the main draw in this room is going to be this beautiful hanging tree branch picture. And what I love about it is it kind of looks like a window, like you're looking out a window and you're just seeing a tree branch. And sometimes, I promise you, I feel like I can see these branches move. Now, I had to grab my husband for this because he's taller and he was stronger to get those monkey hooks in. And so we're using that to hang up the picture. Ta-da! I really love how it turned out. And my husband, since he was already in here, I grabbed him again, and he's going to help me hang up this mantle. This mantle I've had for a couple years. It's nothing new, but I will link it below because I did get it on Amazon, and it's just a nice little mantle to add where you don't have one, but you want one. It could also be used as a shelf. These are a 3 lamp set that I got from Walmart.com. It's Better Homes and Garden. They're very plain, but I got 3 for a really good deal compared to even getting 1 lamp from Amazon. I just can't believe how much lamps are. It's kind of ridiculous. So 3 for the price of 1 Amazon lamp I thought was pretty good. And so one is a floor lamp that's not going to go in this room, but these 2 other lamps are going to go on the nightstands. And they have that bronze, oil red bronze look, which I love. And they kind of look, I don't know, industrial pipe-like too. So I think it's going to make my husband's industrial style happy as well. These lampshades are super plain, which is what I like because it doesn't take away from anything else in the room. Okay, so I got these 2 mama lion and lion cub photos again from the thrift store, and they are exact matching, exact same size, exact same frame. So I thought, how fun would it be to make these into antique mirrors? So that's what I'm going for. I'm taking off all this really old tape. Some of these were stapled in, actually not some of them, it was stapled in. And so I had to work with those as well and pull those out. I'm wiping off the frames. Now, I learned my lesson. I'm going to leave that frame gold and just maybe accent it a little. And I'm cleaning the glass and getting the sticker off. So this is a really good find at the thrift store. So now I'm outside, and what I want to show you, this is actually the glass. I know you can't really see. I sprayed it with the vinegar water, and this is the method used to make antique glass. And now this is that mirror effect. I will link this below. Spray paint. It's just spray paint. So I sprayed it with the water and vinegar. Now I use the mirror effect spray paint on top of that. And then I'm going to spray paint black. I'm going to let that dry for a little bit. Spray paint black all the way on the back. And it's going to make these really beautiful antique mirrors. So there's the black side. And now I'm just assembling that frame back together. I did end up using the cardboard that I had laid the glass on in the middle here because it just, the mirror was moving too much without that extra piece of cardboard. So this was just cardboard that I had that was like the perfect size to lay the glass on to spray paint it. And so it ended up fitting right inside there. So I'm taping the original pieces back together first, then I'm adding that little piece of cardboard and duct taping that as well to really hold that glass in so it's not shaking. Okay, that's how it looks. So you can use as much vinegar water as you want to make the effect that you want, but I really like how these turned out. These are going to go obviously above the nightstand, right next to the lamp, and it's going to give like a little elegant look to this window with the tree. Okay, time for florals. With a darker room, I always want to have some type of florals. These are Dollar Tree maple leaf florals, the kind of light blue ones, with 2 picks of white roses. So I have 3 of the maple leaves, 2 of the white roses. And this is a Dollar Tree vase that I spray painted. I used 2 different colors, a lighter gray and a darker gray, and kind of tried to make it look like cement. I don't know. It looks pretty good. I like it, but it definitely had some drips. Now this is a little Dollar Tree ceramic pot plant with white flowers, and I wanted to add some color to that. So I took a blueberry pick also from Dollar Tree, and I'm just feeding that into the foam that was supposed to look like soil into this little ceramic plant, and it's turning out perfect to add just a little pop of color into these little plants. And these are for the nightstand. Also for the nightstands, I wanted to get some Dollar Tree books, take off the dust covers, and just have some pretty spines showing, and this would help lift that plant that looked really tiny next to that tall lamp. So I'm going to get those ready for the nightstand as well. And now for the large dresser, I have this basket that I spray painted black, and this is a Dollar Tree charger tray, the rectangular one, and I'm putting that inside the basket upside down just to give some lift inside the basket so nothing's sunken into the basket. This is a second floral arrangement that I made, and I'm going to put that on this Dollar Tree corner shelf just to give it a little extra lift as well. And this is a really cute little shelf that's just going to be perfect in the corner there to give that plant a little bit of a rise. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I have this little tray that I'm going to put a little menorah on just to brighten this little area right here. Okay, now it's time to put the books up, and I'm grabbing some pillows, and I really want to brighten and lighten this room. And we are ready for the reveal. So here's what it looked like before. So this was a really fun makeover, and I really love how it turned out. I think the room has a lot of character, is very inviting and warm, and I love the reflection of all the light between the mirrors and the sheen on the wall, that it's not even a dark room. I think it's so beautiful. I love being in this room right now. It's so warm, and it is so different from what it was before that was so bland and boring. I love how it turned out. I hope you guys love it too. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below with how this came out. It was extreme budget, some Dollar Tree items, some thrift store items, and some Amazon items, but I'm really happy with how everything turned out. So thanks so much for watching today on Stay Home Timber for this makeover. I have a living room and dining room, no, a kitchen and dining room makeover coming up still, but before that I'm going to get back to some crafting, even though it's a little bittersweet. But thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you next time on Stay Home Timber. Bye, guys.